Good afternoon, Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Clark coming to you with Be Heard, famous show developed for the people of this country that want to be heard. We are the people, and this country was founded for us, and we've allowed through being diverted or what have you for years and years and years now, we have diverted our attention away from really important stuff. And we've allowed these people that we elect to office to represent us to not represent us, but represent themselves and special interest groups by taking big envelopes from people paying them to do what they want and not necessarily to benefit the people of this country. Matter of fact, really kind of opposite sometimes of what the best interests are of the people of this country. So when we elect these people, I always thought that the elected officials had like a fiduciary responsibility to protect the people of this country. That's what I thought. But could we have been wrong all these times? I don't know. It certainly seems that fiduciary responsibility doesn't mean anything to these people anymore. That's for sure. They've let us down tremendously, and they've sold out. They've absolutely sold out the interest of the people of this country. And as a result, we're in a bad way. We have political leaders that lie to us continuously. They never stop lying to us. Take President Obama as a perfect example. He's the liar in chief. He's probably the number one liar of all times. Probably a lot of our elected officials have lied to us over the years. Some of it probably legitimately because of the nature of the job. You know, we have spies out there. We have people that are out to hurt us, and maybe as a result of that, these people can't always disclose the truth in a way. Boy, I've got some technical difficulties going on here, I'll tell you what. Anyways, we have to get our country back, and the only power really that we have left to even attempt to do that is by voting. And the liberals, the progressives, are trying to defeat us in that every day by rigging the elections, gerrymandering, creating all kinds of distractions, going to the cemeteries, copying down names, registering dogs and cats, having people that are working at the polls, voting 7, 8, 9 times, as many as they can get away with. These are all tricks of the Democrat Party to try to hang on to their power. The power is the most important thing that these people have. And without it, they'd be naked. They would absolutely not have any knowledge of what to do in life if they weren't busy every day lying to people, ripping people off for campaign contributions, promising them a rose garden, being Santa Claus. They would not know how to earn an honest dollar ever. They just don't operate that way. They've been conditioned over the years by people like George Soros and company that have an agenda that's contrary to the best for the United States. They don't like the United States. They don't like power. They like the power they have. They don't like anybody that has more power than they do. This is what is so detrimental to their beliefs and their way of life. One Donald Trump. They can't stand this man because he jeopardizes their power. And we've never had a candidate, I don't think, before that has raised so much ire from the people in power. They're absolutely besides themselves. How did they let this guy just blaze onto the scenes like this? They called him every name in the book to start with, clown, what have you. It never ended. And then damned if these stupid, pesky little voters didn't nominate him to be the party designate to be the candidate for presidency of the Republican Party. Damn these pesky voters. You know, what a terrible thing to have happen. And now they're just getting more and more desperate by the day. More and more crap being thrown at Donald Trump. They take everything out of context. They take a word here in a whole paragraph that he may have said, a word from this sentence, a word from that one, a word from the beginning, a word from the end. They jumble them all up, and then they make a new sentence. And that's what's reported over and over and over and over again. And that's not what Donald Trump said at all. He had probably a completely different meaning. But they will spin it any way that suits their purposes. They paint a picture, and then they just keep pounding it home, and the 47% of the electorate that has been dumbed down so much that believes all this crap, that's the ones that go and they pull the lever for these despicable people that have seized power from us. We have to get rid of these people. If we don't soon, and I'm talking about this election, if we don't start to get this program back on track and start going away from the cliff instead of towards it, we're going to fall off the cliff. Now what's going to result then will not be pretty. Other countries have gone through similar things as this. I'll bet they probably didn't have 320 million people when they had to pull it off. I forget how many were in the French Revolution, but the king didn't fare too well in that one, and his family, they had their heads cut off and what have you. Not too well. Those things don't usually come out too good for leaders. And that's what's going to happen to this country, I predict. There's no other way for it to go. There's absolutely no other way for it to go. It's going to result in a very, very, very bad revolution, the likes of which this world has probably never seen. Now, there's ways to stop this, but I think the time is now. I think we have to stop it. We cannot possibly elect this person on the Democrat side as president. We just cannot possibly do that. That is the worst candidate that's ever run for the position. The Democrat candidates that they put up year after year over the last couple of decades have been worse and worse and worse. Remember, Clinton never would have been elected if it was not for one Ross Perot. Never would have been elected. And that's what we face. We are faced with a choice that has just been getting worse and worse and worse for years. And now we're faced with Hillary Clinton. There's never been a worse president ever to run for president, ever. Absolutely the worst possible candidate you could ever have. Despicable. And that's what we got. That's what we're faced with. A Hillary Clinton presidency. Can you imagine after Bill Clinton's presidency of 8 years, when we had nothing but scandal after scandal after scandal, gate, travel gate, FBI gate, you name it, gate, Vince Foster gate, goes on and on with these people. Gates follow the Clintons. Devastation follows the Clintons. Dead bodies follow the Clintons. Everything that they touch, every single thing that they touch turns to death for people that opposes them. Even the DNC, most recently, a month ago, during their convention process, all the scandals broke out with the DNC's emails, which I guess proved rather conclusively that they had rigged the nomination process. Guess what? To favor Hillary Clinton. What a surprise, huh? Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz had done exactly what she said the purpose of those superdelegates was to rig the election for the nominate to a party that they approved of, not maybe some grassroots movement similar to the Tea Party springing up that would designate who the Democratic candidate would be. The Democrat Party couldn't stand that. They had to do their thing, not be under the control of some Tea Party. That couldn't be, that couldn't stand. So Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz rigged the election and conspired with other operatives and so forth to produce this garbage against Hillary Clinton, or against Bernie Sanders rather, who originally was just somebody that they dusted off to prop up there in an attempt to make Hillary look good. But the problem was Hillary is so bad that no matter who they put up there, they thought they found the worst person in the world, and they were wrong. The worst person in the world was Hillary Clinton. But amazing how things go when you're just dealing in garbage, and that's what the Democratic Party is. Anyways, this is a show about solutions, and we'd like to have people call in, tell us what they think of what's going on and what their ideas are, how to solve the problem. I think that we know how we solve it. We have to solve it through our right to vote, and we have to vote people out of office that are not doing their job, and we have to vote people in that will do our job, and not just because they're playing a bigger Santa Claus than their opponent, but they really have ideas that have been proven over time to work, not this garbage crap that they try to hide from everybody what the history is on their policies that have a history of not working. We need proven results. This trickle-down economy that Reagan produced, I think, worked. It created like 20 years of prosperity like this country had never seen before. But you talk to a Democrat, and they'll say the trickle-down has been proven not to work. Well, they just make statements, folks. They just make statements. Their statements are out and out despicable lies. They're really getting to the point where they're almost comical on the face of it, because it's so ridiculous what comes out of their mouth. You know, they're playing their last cards. Usually they're playing them already, and that's the racist card. Hillary Clinton's running around giving speeches. Isn't it time for a woman president? Wouldn't you like to see a woman president? Well, I think a lot of people might agree with that statement, but not that president, okay? That's the worst person ever. And she's running around using the sexist card. They just use tricks is all they're about. They don't have anything of substance. They don't have anything that's proven to work. Look at Hillary Clinton running around. Her economic plan is to make millions of jobs. Doing what? Living off the taxpayers' dime, building roads and bridges and infrastructure that was supposed to have been done with about a $2 trillion deal that Obama was touting out, that he was going to do shovel-ready jobs. Remember that one? And then his speech a while later, well, those shovel-ready jobs didn't seem as shovel-ready as we thought. I mean, these people are absolutely pathetic. They're pathetic. Nothing works for them. Nothing ever will work for them. They're just a bunch of despicable liars. And that's what they are, despicable liars. And this is what we're left with. We have a choice this time, thank God. We have Donald Trump running. You may, whatever you think of him, I guarantee you, if you don't have a positive opinion of him, you've been lied to and you're believing the lies. It's as simple as that. Listen to what the man says. Take it word for word. Don't listen to the revamped spin that the mainstream media puts on there, taking a word from here and a word from there and mixing them all together and coming out with a different, completely opposite statement. It's just absolutely crazy. At any rate, we got to pay attention to Trump. He's the only one running that has any sense of what this country needs. He's a successful businessman. He's proved himself, and over the years, sure, he had some bumps in the road. What businessman does it? You wouldn't be human if he didn't do some of the, take the risk that a businessman takes the risk doing every day. works with his own money. Now, he may raise money, he may borrow money, what business, and he uses the money he borrows to create something that's productive. This is what he's been successful doing. Now, he's had a few bumps. It was one of the early signs of successes when he went in there fairly. Saw the light and decided to take the gamble, if you bought out of Merv Griffith's place, the Taj Mahal, created a lot of excitement. But the problem, the way I see it, with Atlantic City, a lot of people there, and there were daily bus trips coming in from some of those cities who would be playing. And Atlantic City, gambling was passed, was just a station. It was a slum area. It was in terrible. Entrepreneurs like Donald Trump came in, changed a lot of that. But you know what really got to him and caused the demise, I think, of Atlantic City is regulations. You see, you get these politicians involved, you get a little bit of money going their way, and they get greedy, and they start trying to take from the productive business people that are really the goose that laid the golden egg. They think that's a source of revenue for them forever, and they just take more and more and more. Well, what happens is the goose gets tired of laying eggs, and the goose goes away. And when that happens, these politicians get left with a frigging nightmare. And it's a nightmare that they caused because they didn't know how to regulate efficiently. They don't know how to be productive. They don't know enough to leave things well enough alone. That aren't broken, don't try to fix them. And they just have never learned that lesson. And it's caused the demise, I think, of Atlantic City. It's not doing that well. They have a lot of infrastructure there. They got a lot of rooms. They got a lot of stuff that maybe if the government would take a step back and try to really force themselves to do the right things by history, it's not hard to figure out what to do. The problem is the people that have to figure it out are incapable of any reasoning in that line of work. They don't have it. These people are completely opposite of being productive. They are takers. That's all they know how to do is take. That's what they've been trained to do. That's their whole makeup, and that's all they know. That's all they know how to do. And it ends up with this terrible devastation that you see in Atlantic City. And we see it all across the country. We see it in Detroit. We see it in Baltimore. We see it in all these urban cities that have been run by basically a lot of Democratic mayors for year after year after year. And since their first Democratic mayor, I guarantee you, if you look at the books and look at everything, you'll probably see a steady decline in all the numbers that count. That's the way the liberal progressives run things. They run them into the ground. And the proof's in the pudding. Look at Obama, the first black president. What has he accomplished for his brothers, the fellow black people of America? They have higher food stamps, higher unemployment, their wages have gone down, the unemployment rate is high, sky high, home ownership is less. Every single footprint or any parameter of their success is all negative. So this is your first black president. What kind of a history? What kind of production did he do for you all? The worst. And now we're thinking of electing the first woman president. Don't you see what will happen? She'll set back women's rights 100 years because everything that this woman is a witch. And that's going to be, it has been exposed. But people just don't see it, I guess, plain enough for them to understand what's going on. This will be the worst ever woman president that you could elect, ever, to be the first woman president. She's going to set women back 100 years. You could not pick a worse candidate. And this is what we're going to end up with. This is just more devastation. I've closed all my businesses except two, and I just don't have any desire to even be involved with anything that these liberal progressives are going to be in charge of. No, thank you. I'll just stop working, stop producing, stop hiring people. I've had it. I've just had enough. And a lot of my friends, a lot of the people I've been associated with over the years, a lot of them have beaten me to that game plan, and what haven't are probably going to follow suit shortly. From everything that I get, they're just as tired as I am. And you can't keep fighting these regulations and this paperwork. And in a business, you're paying probably 50 to 60% of your gross income is being paid just to answer to regulations and collect taxes and turn it over to the government. And they have you working for free as collectors for them. Everything they pass is against the businessman. And you just can't operate like that for too long, because the business people, there's other things that these people can do. And besides just not doing anything, a lot of them are in that position where they can just lock their doors and say, no thanks, don't want any more of it. And then to get those people back to where they're enticed to do something again is probably going to be very difficult indeed, because why should they bust their balls when they're not appreciated? Like our illustrious leader, the you didn't build that in chief in the White House. You didn't build that. Government built that. You don't know what you're doing. Government did that. What would you do without the streets, without this, without that? The government. Oh, that's how you built that business. I mean, what a moron to have as your leader, as president of the United States. Are you kidding me? It's absolutely pathetic. We have to have a real leader, somebody that understands economics, understands negotiating, understands the principle of law and the importance of upholding it. Because if we don't uphold the laws we have and enforce them, we're in deep, deep, deep trouble. And man, oh man, it's just unbelievable. We've got to take the control of this country. Anyways, our number here is 702-493-5222. Please call us if you'd like to offer any potential solutions for what we're talking about. Sure would appreciate it. We keep track of the solutions around here, and then we can report the results that we have of who likes what. We'll get that information to people running for office so that they can elaborate on what their ideas are and how they fit into the solutions that are suggested around here. And maybe we can get some leadership that actually do things, implement our policies for a change. We the people. This country was made for us. I know there's a lot of us out there that have been dumbed down, and that's the problem. And we have to either get those people back on board, or we have to at least stop the young people that are coming up in this world. We have to stop their indoctrination into this ideology that will not work. We have to stop that cold before it gets out of hand. We're in the terrible shape we're in because we've allowed the liberal progressives to steal the minds of our young people. And they've indoctrinated them in school. They've literally brainwashed them. All the schools, especially colleges, are now just totally in control of a liberal mindset. And that's the ideology we don't want. These are all policies and so forth that they push that are really communist policies. They will not work. It's the old utopian way of life that Miles Standish and the Pilgrims tried back in the when they were coming on Plymouth Rock and all that stuff back in the 1400s, 1500s. I mean, this policy of this utopian way of life where everybody works for the common good. Oh, it just sounds so wonderful, but it doesn't work in reality because you're dealing with people, and half the people are going to be takers, and if you're lucky, half the people will be producers. And I say lucky because I think the amount of people that know how to produce in this country is rapidly diminishing. And that's the way that the Roman Empire went. They used to be a country of producers, they became a country of takers, and then shortly after that happened, the entire Roman Empire collapsed. I mean, what else do we need to know about history? And there's histories of that all over Europe, all over the world, where dynasties have come to an end because the dynasties either get out of control and take all the people's money to the point where they revolt and have riots in the streets or whatever, kind of like what's going on in Venezuela these days. What a terrible, terrible situation. You had Hugo Chavez down there, and all the superstars, Penn and everybody, just running down, just supporting, what a Cesar Chavez, oh my goodness, what a great guy. Yeah, well, he died, and now the country's in absolute chaos collapse because the communism way of life doesn't work. And this is what you end up with, and that's the sign, that's the results. Why can't 47% of the people that have been indoctrinated to this kind of ideology look at the results? You see, it's kind of like the proof is in now. We've had 8 years under King Obama, and what we've gotten is 180 degrees in the wrong direction of all the policies that he's implemented are 180% wrong. And we have to get them turned around, and we have to get things going in the right direction. Look at the economic record that the man has. We've had like 1% is our top growth, maybe 2% a quarter since he's been in office. We've never had 8 years in this economy since we started taking records where we've had less than a 3% growth quarter after quarter after quarter. This president has never produced a 3% growth, ever. Matter of fact, he's far short of it. I think this last quarter was 1.14%, something like that. It's so low, it's pathetic. It's hard to even get it accurate, it's so low. And this is what we got. When you have these types of policies put forth that fundamentally won't work and have never worked, this is not conjecture. These policies do not work. You have to give people, the people that, that's the element that we're faced with, is how do you control people? You're going to have 50% that are basically uncontrollable because they don't have a mind anymore. It's been removed and replaced with just mud and liberal and progressive ideas. And they become worthless in society. They become a taker. We need producers. We need people like a Donald Trump and all the people that work for him that realize a good job when they see one. They're productive and they create advantage for Mr. Trump and his businesses, because these are the people that make a business successful. It's not one person that makes a company successful. He may be the entrepreneur, he may be the catalyst that created everything, but it takes a person with delegation skills, and it takes a person that has the way of identifying who will be productive to his company and fit into the game plan that he has. That's a leader. That's somebody that can identify people that will be positive for the company. Can you imagine a company trying to be productive when half the country thinks one, or half the company thinks one way, and the other half of the company will always think the opposite way? If one person comes up with an idea, another person is going to come up with the opposite idea. A company like that will never, ever work. It's doomed for failure. And there's no company that I know of that operates like that in the United States, or probably in most places in the world. But why do we try to operate our country when you have two diverted parties that are just so different, they'll never ever agree to anything? The whole mindset is opposite from one another. And if you say 2 and 2 is 4, the other party's going to demand that no, 3 and 1 is 4. You're never going to make any agreement on anything, because they can't, because the whole system is set up that one party wins, one party loses. And the people in the party will do anything to win. the Democrats that are. They'll do any trick, they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll buy your votes, they'll do every single thing that could be done to just create chaos. And the chaos creates them an opportunity to sell their goods to the misinformed voter. They create problems, these people, and then they tell the misinformed voter that they're going to be the ones to solve the problem. Well, they're the ones that created it, so they are the problem. The only way a smart voter is going to solve the problem is you get rid of the people that caused it. And that's where you start and that's where you end, because that'll be the salvation for the United States, our economy and everything else. Our tremendous trade deficit is created by people that are not capable of doing their job, like Obama. I don't even think he's a good golfer, but that's where he spends most of his time, is out there in the golf course. Especially the harder the situation gets, the bigger bad things going on, he heads for the golf course. The guy is incapable of leading anything. He follows, he doesn't lead, and he's pathetic. And unfortunately, here we have a Hillary Clinton now is at the same mindset, and we're just trading a black man for a woman. And that doesn't work, folks. We just can't follow up the first black president, which has been a miserable failure, with the first woman president, who we already know will be a miserable failure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. We know what she will be. She was a failure as Secretary of State. She was a failure as a New York Senator. And she was a failure as the president of the Bimbo Eruption Squad in the White House, because it didn't slow down old hubby Bill much. They were paying out of pocket like $800,000 to get Paula Jones to go away, and there were many others. And who knows what kind of funds changed hands. But we know this, the Clintons were involved in selling the Lincoln bedroom and doing other pay-for-play things while they were in the White House before. And they left the White House, and out of Hillary's lips come that they were stone cold broke, not only broke, but heavily in debt. Well, the reason they were heavily in debt, which they don't tell you, of course, is because of all the legal fees that old Billy Boy had amassed up in his illegal little pecker trips, bimbo eruptions and all that stuff. The guy's pathetic. You know, being serviced by Monica Lewinsky while he's on the phone to congressmen and senators, supposedly acting as the people's president. I mean, what a pathetic piece of white trash. Anyways, this is what this country's deteriorated to. I think it's gotten this way through a lack of education, and we need to bring our schools back up to snuff. We need to teach our students things that they actually need to know so that they can have common sense. That's one of our solutions that's been called in around here, is Common Sense 101. I think that needs to be taught in schools. We teach English, we teach Spanish even, math and all these, you know, geography and blah, blah, blah. We used to teach history, but I guess the progressives didn't want that going on anymore, so that slowed up considerably. But we need to teach CS 101, and I think common sense can be taught. I know it can be taught. It's common sense. So we need people that can explain to students that they need to use their own brain. If it doesn't make sense to them, then there's something wrong. And look for what's wrong, try to identify that, and you'll be well on the way to having a good set of gray matter between your ears to work with. And that'll set you for life. That'll teach you how to fish. Instead of fishing for you, they're going to teach you how to make up your own mind and go down the right road. When you come to a fork in life, you'll know which way to turn because your common sense will tell you to. And you don't listen to these crooked politicians who are constantly promising you a rose garden, and all they give you is a bunch of thorns. Because that's all these people know is thorns. They don't have any solutions for anything. All they do is they create problems. That's what they're very good at, creating the problems. Anyways, our number here is 702-493-5222. give us a call, let us know what your ideas for solutions are. We'll keep track of it in our computer system here and keep a tally going, so we'll know what the leading ideas are, and we'll get them out there by being heard. You as the people calling into this show and identifying what your ideas and solutions are, we'll get those ideas and solutions out there. That'll be our job. That's what we can do as a forum to relay the information that we get. All we are bookkeepers in a way. We keep the track of the information. We developed a system here to where we can identify what the solutions are and tally them up, and that's what we go with. And one of our best solutions, number one at the moment, is to get rid of the political parties. And that made sense to me when I first heard of it. And what could make more sense? You have, in this country, you don't have any companies, businesses that run on a two-party policy within their businesses. It won't work. The business will collapse. Well, I think we've proven that it's collapsing this country because we have a $20 trillion debt, and that's not good. That's terrible. And if we didn't print our own money, and if we didn't have these people in the Fed doing things that are not productive really for the free market system that we basically are here in the United States. They've been fooling with the money, supply, and everything else since Obama's been in the White House. They've been propping up the stock market artificially, and I think that we're in store for a gigantic crash at some point, and it won't be pretty. Just a percent or two raise in the interest rate, you know what that'll do to $20 trillion in debt? I mean, we're already bankrupt. That'll push us over the top real fast. And we'll start reneging on our debt, and boy, oh boy, the end will be near. And when the people stop being able to eat, when they stop being able to get toilet paper, like in Venezuela, things are really going to get bad. And I feel sorry for the young people. I think for the most part, the younger ones that are just up and coming now, they've been able to look and see before they've been indoctrinated, and what they see is not good, and they've recognized that. And that's before these college professors and teachers in high school and everything get them indoctrinated. They've already are aware that what they're being taught is not working. And that's good. It's going to take a couple decades probably to have any effect in the United States. But if we last that long, well, maybe that's our best hope, that they will come, the younger people, the people under 10 now, or under 15 for sure. These people, I think, have a good grasp on what reality is, and maybe common sense. And when they get in a leadership position, maybe we can straighten this country out. But in the meantime, as the predecessors of what's going to happen, I think we as the people, we have to clean up the corruption in this country. It's just absolutely rampant. It's in everything, and it's a cancer. And cancer doesn't get better day after day, it gets worse, and it kills the patient. And we need to get rid of this cancer, and there's nothing worse in any society, in anything, business, you name it, of corruption. Corruption is the worst, and it'll kill you every time. We have a judiciary system here, in Nevada particularly, that's just broken. It can't be more broken. It's impossible. We have judges actually stealing money from other states, and money that's been held in trust. I mean, my God, this is legal law 101. It's the Constitution. That can't be done. But that doesn't even slow down these black robes in Nevada. These are despicable, illegal operating judges, and they need to be thrown off the bench. They really do. We have a disciplined judiciary committee that's a joke, an absolute rubber stamp. I think they're controlled. I know they're controlled by the powers to be, and the powers to be are not going to let this discipline board do what their name says. Hell no. They use this board for their own purposes. And I think that a ruling that there was something that just came down with Catherine Ramsey is a perfect example of that. I think that's a terrible situation that materialized because of the powers to be didn't want a judge in North Las Vegas doing their thing. Well, we have a visitor. How are you today?
I'm fine, Clark. Was
That's
just dropping in.
Yeah, it's nice of you to show up. I've been waiting for 40 minutes over here
Well,
for someone with something to say.
Yeah, we got the countdown coming. How's it looking for you?
Oh yeah, good. Well, I don't know. I was trying to get online here to find out what the latest polls are. I hear through the grapevine that Trump is surging.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been due.
Is it due because of the emails?
Well, you name it. I mean, what?
Let's see what the polls are.
It's just absolutely crazy what's going on out there. You've got I just heard too a few minutes ago that Hillary is cutting all ties with the Clinton Crime Foundation. How about that?
What?
Huh?
How do you want to do that when you're in your
I have
family?
how do you do anything
I mean,
with them? I mean, all they do is talk. You know, it's amazing.
I think that's what everybody's talked out. They're ready for some action. Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope so, and I think one thing for sure is Trump will bring some action. I know what Hillary will bring is devastation and bodies. That's what follows her around. Look at the DNC. Just last month, 3 bodies.
Wow.
Who did the DNC appoint for their nomination for the DNC candidate? Hillary Clinton. And we got 3 bodies. We got a guy killed coming out of his apartment at 4 o'clock in the morning to go visit with the FBI. Killed.
Kind of looks scary there, huh?
Well, it is scary, but that's what you get with the Clintons. Anything that they touch leads to bodies. It's just a fact. How many dead bodies have you been associated with in your career?
I don't have skeletons.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I know, I ask them this question. Every now and then somebody knows, well, this guy kind of disappeared mysteriously. They have 1. That's the leader that I know. They got 1. The Clintons have over 20 unaccounted for dead bodies, like Vince Foster, for example, and all the people from Arkansas and troopers, and I mean, all these piles of bodies around them is just incredible, and that's what they represent. That's what they are.
So for the public, with the bodies, do you think that would hinder the country?
She would hinder the country. She's going around saying, don't you think it's time for a woman president? Oh, well, you know, okay, who's going to argue with that? That's fine, but not that woman. That's the problem. She's absolutely the worst candidate ever that's run for any office. She's terrible. Look at her record as Secretary of State. How's the world doing? How's Russia doing? How'd that reset work? How's Syria doing? How's Libya doing without Gaddafi? How's the Muslim Brotherhood? How's all this stuff that she had her fingers in? How's it working out? I guess the uranium deal that guy got to steal all our uranium out of the U.S., that probably worked out pretty good for that $140 million payment that was funneled through Canada, the laundry of Canada, to clean up the money and end up in the Clinton Crime Foundation. I guess that worked out good for some people, but not for the United States. You know, selling access to this and that. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Just the latest poll, Clark. Let's see what they said. NBC News. Do you trust
great.
NBC News?
Well, not really, but
Clark don't even trust the media.
Donald Trump chips away at Hillary's Clinton National Lead. Now, what's going to happen between now and the election that's going to reverse anything for Hillary? How is she ever going to reverse a chip away? It's going in the wrong direction for her. Who has the, you know, the positive results and the momentum, if you will? It's Trump. After the convention, there were nothing but lies coming out of the mainstream media. They were misreporting everything. Lying, lying, lying. Taking this thing with the Gold Star family and that lawyer who's got a job of importing Muslims into this country. Legal or illegal, whatever the hell he is. He's a DNC operative, is what he was. And he trotted his wife up there, standing there in her Muslim garb and whatever. And that was a setup. And he happens to have a convention, constitutional booklet in his pocket. I mean, come on, folks. I know Democrats are that dumb, but don't think everybody is. That was a setup. And it's coming to look up more and more that way every day.
So you see what NBC said? You have to report the truth. They said that Donald Trump is leading.
And that's what's CBS?
That's NBC.
NBC. Let's
Yeah,
see.
that
This
was
one's
10.
good.
That's 10 hours ago. Let's see what else we have. And we're gonna click back and see what the other news media are saying.
Well, NBC is saying he's narrowed it to only a 6-point lead by Hillary, but I think this is all. This will probably prove to be the most inaccurate poll ever done.
I think the political analysts from Texas, you know, I'm from Texas, our analysts are pretty good with us being bipartisan. They really think it's going to be that one single note close race on the day of November 8th. It's going to really be that close, 6 and 7% difference, Clark. It's just going to be that close.
But when you have the worst candidate ever running, and it ain't Donald Trump, okay? I mean, Ross Perot's from Texas. That guy had a few problems that Trump doesn't seem to have.
Let me see what the rest of them said. That was just the top 10 hours ago that NBC reported.
Oh, well, here's the truth. Now, here we get a little bit. In a four-way top, see, they always eliminate the independents or the Green Party or what have you, or the Libertarian. In a 4-point race, it's down a 4-point margin. So they don't like to tell you that. Because there will probably be 4 people running
Oh, yeah.
on the ballot. So
You have
I
the
mean,
Green Tea, the Liberal, and you have the Independent.
so why do they,
That's why the analysts, think it's going to be a single number because of that. Because even if they get, do the math, even if they get 15%, you just multiply that. 3, 3, 3.
what if there really are, let's say, a lot of former staunch Democrat, no matter what voters? What if they're actually not as strong as they used to be because the Democrats have let them down over and over and over again for years and years and years and years, and they've been lied to. They've had the facts of history misrepresented, and I think that's not as strong a support that they think that they have. And there's a lot of talk coming from people that have a certain notoriety, and they're saying that support is not there like the Democrats think it is.
Now you see what CBS says.
Now this is Pennsylvania.
Since they say Hillary is leading in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but that's been a blue state for whatever.
Yeah.
And you know I don't know. I think that I just really
Stay tuned.
I don't trust these polls. How can Hillary Clinton be leading in Florida? I mean, it's only a couple points, if that.
Only
But
I'm telling you, it's gonna be a single point. Now you're gonna hear from me, from the Texas analysts. I'm telling you, our analyst bipartisan is single digit,
Now,
and it's gonna be single digit.
what about
on
after the
November 8th.
debate? What about after? You think the debate's going to have any influence at all?
I'm saying it's gonna be like that all the way down to countdown.
What you're going to have in the debate, you're either going to have despicability fixedness going on with whoever's handling the debate. Who is handling the first debate? CNN, MSLSDS, or
You
who's
got all
handling?
ready.
Huh?
Who's gonna be handling that debate? You think that's gonna toll the numbers? I'm telling you, it's like a
Absolutely,
knockout.
because they're
It's
all.
It's gonna be a knockout. And I'm telling you, it's like Tyson, that first round. I'm serious. And they're gonna lean it over, try to make it all 12 rounds. But it's gonna be the first round.
So who?
It's gonna be a single digit. It can go anywhere, Clark.
Well, I don't know how, with a record, how does she answer any questions? The only possible way is that CNN or whoever's going to be doing this supposed debate is not going to be asking her the questions. they're going to be asking the questions to Donald Trump and trying to spin his answers into whatever they try to spin them into, and it won't be the truth. So why can't we have the truth? Why can't Hillary Clinton, she can't, that's why. I mean, how do you say, the way that she tried to explain that Sunday on Chris Wallace about Mrs. Smith, the mother of one of the dead Benghazi guys. Well, I think because of the heat of the moment and the situation that she was in, she just misunderstood what I was saying. Now that's a gold star mother, right? Well, Trump was getting all this stuff over this gold star phony lawyer, Democrat operative, which is nothing compared to what Mrs. Clinton did to Mrs. Smith, which was despicable. And now she doesn't have enough chutzpah to say that she made a mistake. No, Mrs. Smith made the mistake, according to this piece of crap. She is a piece of crap.
You zeroed it out of Clark's mouth. And I don't think we can change his mind. But you got about 37% is still up in the air, gonna change their mind until they walk behind that pole and decide behind that curtain.
Don't you think 37% undecided has a lot to do with the despicability of Hillary Clinton? That's why they're undecided.
They
and
don't
maybe
trust
they're just
no one.
saying they're undecided because they've decided. They're just saying they're undecided.
Yeah, they really decided they're just not gonna share it with you.
Yeah, but it's Trump. It ain't gonna be Hillary.
Boy, November they ain't gonna be here sooner than you think.
Well, when Trump wins at 60% of the vote,
Oh, you really saying 60%?
to Hillary's 10,
Woo!
and then Gary Johnson maybe 20 or 30, but Hillary's going, if she even makes it to November 8th, I have a problem even thinking she's gonna make it.
Wow.
I mean, the stuff, I always knew that the emails were bad, okay, but the taking money from foreign governments when you are a Secretary of State of the United States, that is treason to me. It's always been treason. I've never understood that. How is that even possible? That is a crime of the highest order. And they just act like, oh, that's no crime. That's the way I went to school. That was treason.
That's treason. Treason to you is treason. The definition of treason. What is the definition of treason?
You're selling out your government with information and influence and everything else to a foreign government. That's basically your enemy in some cases.
That's like
That's
breach.
treason.
Is that like breach?
That's like giving, right, that's like giving secret information to your enemy. Like if you were a rebel soldier and you're given the plans for an attack to the Union Army, you're selling out your fellow soldiers, kind of like what happened in Benghazi.
Benghazi was a real tragedy.
Yeah, and who was the leader? Who was the one getting that call at 3 a.m.? Well, there's a picture in the paper today, a cartoon. I love cartoons because they say so much with so little. And it shows a big bed there with an H up above it, like Queen Hillary, and then someone sleeping next to her. Kind of hard to figure out if it's Umar or Bill or Vince, it's kind of hard to figure out who that is next to her, because you never really know. But anyways, and there's a phone there, a red phone, and it says, Dona Hotline. And the clock next to the phone says 3 a.m. And she's answering the phone, this is Hillary, what can I do for you? So she's getting the 3 a.m. donor calls. That's what she's answering. Now that's just a cartoon, but it says everything. It just puts it all together in a big circle.
Stay tuned for our cartoon.
You know?
We're going to bring you that cartoon on the internet so we can definitely look at
I'm
that.
a cartoon fanatic. I love them.
Hey, we should put it on the page so they could definitely. I
I
love
know.
cartoons.
Yeah.
We got to find that article.
It's in the Sunday viewpoint that shows a lot of accumulation of the cartoons from the week before. So it has like 20 in there. From the best ones from the week before. So anyways, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your input. And we'll see you next time when you're going to stop by tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right, good deal. Anyways, this is Be Heard coming at you. We're signing off for today, and hope to see you back here tomorrow. And in the meantime, you stay healthy, wise, and vote for Trump in the general. Well, I can't even make that rhyme. I won't try. Just trump it with Trump. That's the only way to do it. You've got to get rid of this woman, this first American president, woman president. What a joke. Don't do this, folks, because that'll set women back 100 years. You vote for that lady, you're going to go backwards. She's a wicked witch of the Dems. Oh, Andrew, what do you think? So what are you learning out there?
Ah, she was so close. Everybody did.